Good afternoon guys, and welcome back to another episode of Nick's Veggie Patch. Today I'm going to be talking about what variety of seed potatoes I'm going to be sowing this year. Also what variety of onion sets that I'm going to be planting, and the two varieties of Brussels sprouts that I'm also going to be sowing this year and planting up my allotment, and also explaining to you when the last frost dates are for our zone here in Hampshire, and giving you a rough idea of when you should start planting out your potatoes. So without any further ado, I'm going to crack on and I'll come back to you in a minute. Right guys, the first variety of Brussels sprouts that I'm going to be sowing this year is called Bright F1 Hybrid. Now obviously I've gone to a local garden centre, had a look at all the seeds that they're selling, and I've decided to go with Thompson and Morgan. Now obviously I'm not promoting them, but this is the sort of seed that I looked at, and obviously with this seed they give you 25% extra free in the packet, which I thought was very good. But one of the reasons that I chose this variety of Bright is because the actual Brussels sprout is bright, smooth, and has evenly sized buttons. It's also very good at holding ability, they're very good at their holding ability until around late November into early December. They also produce a sweet and tasty cabbage top for use as greens, which you will find you get when you sow Brussels sprouts and they're ready to harvest. You'll see a lovely top, a Brussels sprout top. Take that off, cut it up, and you'll get lovely fresh greens which you can use to make any sort of dish. So chop the tops up, fry them with some bacon pieces, add a touch of cream, bit of salt and pepper, or a bit of pepper, and you've got a lovely dish there on its own. With these also you can sow indoors or sow direct outdoors from late February to the middle of April basically, and you get germination is normally seven days. So once you've got that germination, they're ready to be planted on into bigger pots, or if you've got the ground ready, I would plant them out and cover them over with fleece just to protect them for the first few weeks until the last sort of frosts have gone. Excuse me. Plant height generally is 75 centimeters, which is about 30 inches, and I would say the preferred positioning of Brussels sprouts in your allotment or garden, they like full sun. So if you've got an area where you know you're going to get full sun in your garden or allotment, that's where I would say plant your Brussels sprouts. Or if you're going to direct sow them where you know a patch of your allotment or garden gets the fullest of sun. That way you will get a really good crop of Brussels sprouts, and something that I like to do, or something that I will be doing once they are ready to harvest, I'm going to cut them off of the stalk, bring them home, obviously clean them, then I'm going to blanch them for about a minute or so and then freeze them. So I've got my freezer kind of stocked up with enough Brussels sprouts for me, my wife, and then any leftover, because I had a lot left over last year, any leftover I'll give to family and friends. I gave quite a lot out last year to family and friends, especially my wife's family. We had a very good crop of Brussels sprouts last year, so this year I am hoping for the same. But yeah, that's what I'll be doing, and I'll be doing that for both varieties of Brussels sprout that I have purchased. So I'm going to tell you now about the second variety of Brussels sprout that I'm going to sow. I'll come back to you in just a few seconds so you can actually see the second variety that I'm going to sow. Okay, so the second variety that I've chosen is a variety called Brilliant F1, which is also from Thompson and Morgan. Obviously with this one, full of flavour and they're bitter free, but as I say, one of the reasons I chose them is the variety Brilliant F1. It's an autumn maturing variety with an extended harvesting period. They have firm, bitter-free, flavoursome round buttons. So, as you can see there from the picture, lovely, green, vibrant. They're round. They hold very well in the garden or allotment for several weeks. So, normally what I say on my videos is if you haven't got an allotment but you've got enough space in your garden to plant some vegetables and you like doing that, build a couple of raised beds, and yeah, you could sow some Brussels sprouts in your garden. If you've got an allotment, do them in the allotment, but they will hold up very well for several weeks. As I said, once they're ready to harvest, I'll take them home, clean them, blanch them, and I'll freeze them, and I'll give them the rest. I'll give the rest to the family. But you don't need necessarily an allotment to grow stuff. If you've got only a small garden or you've got a little bit of patio, you could even grow Brussels sprouts in tubs. I mean, in great big pots. I mean, you're going to sow them so far down into the soil or compost, and yeah, they would probably hold up well in pots. I've never grown them in pots. I've just always started them off in seed trays and then sowed them directly out. But I would imagine you could plant them into pots if you haven't got much space, even on a patio, and you would probably get some really nice Brussels sprouts by doing it that way. But as I've said, that's the two varieties that excuse me, I'm going to be sowing this year. Sowing wise on both. So sowing wise, you're looking at, obviously for the first one that I've told you, late February middle of April. On this variety, you're looking at March through to the end of April, kind of first week of May. The germination time, obviously, for this variety, again, 7 days. The plant height for this variety is 75 centimeters, which will go, and they should go to about 2.5 foot or 2.5 foot. Again, this variety also likes full sun. So there are the two varieties that I'm going to be sowing this year, and hopefully they'll give me a very good harvest, and hopefully if you're sowing Brussels sprouts you get the same results. Right guys, so the next thing I'm going to come on to before I show you what I'm planting in the way of potatoes and onions, potato seeds and onion sets, is I just want to quickly tell you about the UK map for the last frost dates. Now, you can find this information out if you go on to the web and type in the last sowing, the last frost dates for the UK, and what it will do is excuse me, it'll bring you up a map and it will tell you the zone that you're in. So basically what you want to do is you want to look for the zone that you're in. Now, for those of you that are in Hampshire, like I'm in North Hampshire, our zone date for our last frost dates, we are in zone 11. Now, what that means is for Andover, the last frost dates for Andover are in between the 21st and the 30th of April. Now, I wouldn't say that is something you should set in zone. It's set in stone, sorry, not zone. It's set in stone. Generally, you just have to, what I would say is, you know, keep an eye on the weather. Look at the news for the weather reports. And that'll generally tell you if there's going to be a frost. I follow Charles Dowding on YouTube, and he generally says in his area, he's in Somerset, or he's near Somerset, in a little village called Alhampton. He says normally the last frost dates where he is normally the first sort of week in May. So what I would say is don't set these dates in stone. This is just, for me, a general guide. So, as I said, for me, where I live in Hampshire, North Hampshire, the zone is zone 11. And that means normally our last frosts are going to be in around the 21st to the 30th of April, even going into the first week of May. So I hope that gives you an insight into the last frost dates. What I will do is I will show you a map that I've printed off, and that also shows you the zone dates for, or the zone times and dates for the UK. So I'll just pause for a minute and then I will bring you a picture of the zone dates, and these are zone dates for your area. So if you follow me on YouTube, these are the zone dates for your area. Right guys, I'm now going to get on to showing you what varieties of potato seeds I'm going to be sowing this year or planting, and what variety of onion sets that I'm going to be planting this year as well. I would also like to say, because I stopped the video from that last bit I was talking about a bit early, obviously those UK kind of zones for the last frost, it didn't actually have where they were. But I've had a quick look online, and if you scroll down obviously to where I got them from, it does show you for your area what zone you're in, and the dates of when potentially your last frosts are. So obviously if you scroll down, you'll find, say, I'll pick a location, say Basingstoke. It says your last frost dates are roughly in between the 1st and the 10th of May, which I would generally say for our area as well, where I am in North Hampshire. I'm not far from Basingstoke, but I would generally say you look at also the first sort of week of May as well, where you might get the last frosts. So now I'm going to go on to telling you what potato seeds or what varieties I'm going to be planting this year, and I'm also going to tell you what onion sets I'm going to be planting as well. So I'm going to come back in a minute and I will show you what obviously I'm planting this year. Okay, so the first variety of potato seeds that I'm going to be planting is Pentland Javelin. Now, as you can see, they're a first early variety. I've got them here. Some of them are in old egg cartons that I've got, and a few left I've got in a green little sowing tray here. So basically, Pentland Javelin are first early varieties that are best planted in March. I would say the date for planting Pentland Javelin, you can calculate it on the basis that seed potatoes will take about 4 weeks before they appear above ground. Also, you only want them to appear when, I would say, the danger of the last frosts are gone. So I would say kind of end of March, early sort of April is when I would kind of plant the Pentland Javelin, and then roughly end of April that the end of April is when the frosts are normally likely to kind of be gone. That's obviously, in my opinion, end of March, April time. That then gives you the 4 weeks for them to come up, and hopefully that should be when the first sort of, the last sort of frosts have kind of gone. But just check on the variety of potato that you're growing to see roughly when you should plant it for a harvest. So I'll come on to the next variety that I'm going to be sowing. So the next variety is Estima. It's a second early. They're best planted in the last week of March. again, like Pentland Javelin and obviously Dell, which I will show you, they appear after the last frosts have gone. So yeah, whatever your area is, see when the last frosts are going to be, and then plant your potatoes kind of 4 weeks before that. You can cover them over with mesh, and that will also give them that little bit of an added protection, or cloche as it's called. It's a white sort of cloche. You can use that to protect your potatoes as well from the frosts. I'm going to come on to the next one, which is obviously the Pentland Dell. Again, the Pentland Dell is the main crop. So like the rest of them, I would look at the last frost dates for when to know to plant your seeds. The good thing about Pentland Dell is, if you want an early crop, look at the planting, or look at planting at the end of February, March time for an August harvest. Or if you want to plant normally, I would say kind of look at April for a September to October harvest. So if you want an early harvest, then go for harvesting in August. If you just want to plant normally, then just go for a September, October harvest. If you do that, then you're going to have fresh potatoes ready for Christmas, and there are lots of ways you can store them, and you can have potatoes for quite a long time. The final potato seed that I'm going to be sowing is the Duke of York. It's the red Duke of York. It's a first early, so basically mid-March to mid-April is, in my opinion, what I would say when you plant them out. Again, you're looking at aiming for when the last sort of frosts are going to be. But later varieties should be planted after the worst of the frosts have gone in your area. So in Hampshire, it's zone 11, as I've said, 21st to the 30th of April. But yeah, you could get your potatoes in end of March, early April, and it gives you the 4 weeks that you need for the potato seeds to start coming through the soil. And if you can avoid the last frost, you will get, or you should get, a very good crop of potatoes. So now I'm going to show you what sets of onions I'm going to be planting this year. So we come on to the first one, and I can show you the pictures of this one. So the first one is I think it's Stron or whatever it's called. So it gives high yields, good for storing. You can plant these from December to May and harvest August to October. This comes with 50 sets, and it's also been awarded the RHS award for Garden of Merit, so I'm going to give that one a go this year. I'm also going to give the Red Baron a go. With this one it's excellent for salads. Again, plant between December to May, and you'll get an August to October harvest. And the final one that I'm going to grow, because I have grown Red Baron before, and I had quite a few good onions. The Stron I haven't grown before, so I'll wait to see what that comes out like. But the final one I'm going to be growing, and I've grown quite a few times, is the Stuttgarter Giant. As it says, it's a favourite variety. Plant December to May, harvest August to October. Again, 50 sets. These have all been awarded, to be fair, the Garden of RHS Garden of Merit. So, but I normally look on the price of the sets of onions that I'm going to buy, because I like to stick in to a relatively favourable price range. So these were all $2.99. You can see where they come from. I don't need to tell you that. Again, with the seed potatoes, basically they came from the same place, which is there, and they are basically fill a bag up for $2.99. So try and get as many as you can in a bag, fill it up, $2.99, and you've got your seed potatoes and then your packs of onion seeds, onion sets. They also do garlic sets as well, but my garlic's already in the ground. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be planting this year in the way of onion sets and potato seeds. Hopefully I'll get a good harvest from all of them. I am obviously going to go with the last frost dates. So I'm at the stage now where I've started the chitting process. As you can see there, those little knobbly bits just there is what we call the chit. That's what you want to see come up. Once they're at a nice reasonable height, I don't want them too high. So probably about that once they come up, as you can see. That's the sort of height for me I think I would like. But yeah, hopefully, as I said, I'll get some really good crops from them, and I'll be able to show you what I get later on in the year. Okay guys, so that's it for the video this week. Obviously I've explained what varieties of seed potatoes I'm going to be planting this year, what variety of onion sets I'm going to be planting, and just giving you an insight into the UK zonal map for last frost dates in your area. So yeah, hopefully guys, this video has been helpful to you for this week, and I'll see you for another episode of Nick's Veggie Patch next time. If you do like this video, then please hit the subscribe button, which is in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. And if you did like this video, hit the thumb button as well, and that will give you a host of other videos that you might like. Also guys, why don't you check out some of the YouTube channels that I subscribe to and follow, like Charles Dowding, Hugh Richards, Jesse at Plot 37, and a host of other video YouTube channels. Another one that I've just remembered, obviously, it's Blyther Farm. That's also on YouTube. I can't remember the lady's name that does it, but she gives you good videos. And also another one, Grow Veg, with a guy called Ben. I can't remember his last name. Check out Grow Veg. That is a very good YouTube channel. And I'll see you again, guys, for another episode. Stay safe. Bye for now.